Also, this is like one of the weirdest tables because if you actually look at it, some teams have played 2 games, some teams have played 7 games. It's a very lenient, relaxed bracket. It looks like if in terms of football, that not being your throwing one, the one which we kick, like that looks like some like non-league football table in like England where there's no strict rules on like when you need to play. It's just kick the ball when you want and then
Whenever
put
you
it on
need
the
it.
thing. Yeah, whenever you need it.
They've rescheduled so many games to say like an FL Cup or something like that. But
Which is fair. I like the leniency, but no. Anyway, look, we got a draft. We got some heroes picked. We got some heroes banned.
yeah,
I think
Batrider, Elder Titan, Lifestealer. Not someone who sees Elder Titan all too often. Like, how often was he picked during the minor? I don't know if he was picked at all.
I believe, yeah, if it was picked, it would be picked very not often. But I think HellRaisers, though, looking at their previous games in the last couple of weeks, in Parimatch alone, they picked it at the end of the week, obviously when Roger started playing, and during the WSG qualifiers, they when they're playing against Nova in the grand finals, they picked it twice, and in both those games they won. So I think it's just a comfortable pick that they've kind of got worked into their draft and just pick it up. Why not? It's very strong.
Yeah, coming
Just
in
think
here
about those
with
defensive qualities.
a Batrider and Lifestealer. What do you think he's looking for exactly in terms of game plan for that Elder Titan for people who just don't see it that much?
Well, it's all about just being able to just obviously you can make stacks as a defensive hero, and it just secures a lane against those weaker heroes. I think the main point we have to raise here is simply a Pango against ET is very much like ET can just get his bonus damage. Obviously, nowadays you get your bonus damage primarily from hitting your spirit on the heroes rather than neutral creeps because it gives you less damage on neutral creeps. And Pango is a very weak laner. So the ET being position 5 will secure that lane. The rebuttal though is with the Shaman pickup. If you actually pair Pango and Shaman together as two and just kind of play around each other away from like the lane and you try and zone the Earth's Elder Titan, sorry, there's so much damage coming out from the Swashbuckle, the Shadow Shaman just right clicks, and the potential disarm at 2. So ET, even though it's strong, it could get punished if you play outside of the lane.
And now I'm looking at that Shadow Shaman, which I'm a big Shadow
Yeah.
Shaman fan, and now the Disruptor comes through. Two supports I really do love it. The Shadow Shaman, for me, just because if you get yourself, the Keen Optic, an Aethro Ends, and then you've got the cast range talent, you could be on the other side of the world and you're still getting a Hex off. And it's one of those heroes that doesn't really have to put himself in too much danger once he's got, the set pieces there for him.
Yeah, just looking at the games actually HellRaisers played, they in all of them Roger was actually playing the Elder Titan with like no flex, so it will be a Disruptor 5. I know before in the past HellRaisers ran Disruptor 4 with Gilga, but I'm expecting again with their track record of Elder Titan, it will just be a Roger Elder Titan and then Vaposhka on Disruptor.
Do you like Disruptor 5 more than you do 4? Like, I know Disruptors usually kind of bank on getting like a Philosopher's Stone potentially and moving into that earlier Ags. Do you like it in 5 where it's not getting any farm priority?
I think it's about what you need in the game. In some games you need to be able to, like obviously with the GPM talents removed many patches ago now, it's how do we get to our ags? How do we get that kind of big impact? But I think in some lineups you can just run it as a casual 5. It's a very strong laner with Thunderstrike. Against, for example, Puck, you have the ability to always glimpse him back in lane. The kinetic field kind of punishes him. So it just depends on is the Ags on Disruptor a timing that you need to hit to win the game? If that's kind of in your mind, then position 4 is superior. But if you don't have this like reliance on it, then I think position 5 is still very strong, simply because of that laning phase.
And then FlyToMoon, they pick up the Void as Faceless Void. Now I have to be more specific because Void Spirit exists.
Yeah,
and he was banned out as well.
If this was a radio cast, they'd be like, which one? So please, thank you.
Faceless Void comes in, and then the Death Prophet, which was very popular in the minor. A lot of people saying that that's going to be heavy in the meta coming into the major. And, the DP, the Faceless Void, they work pretty well together. We've seen the combo a couple times.
Yeah, it's so just overall, it's one of those underrated heroes that kind of arrives, right? You're like, oh, hold up, Death Prophet's still a hero. Like, in concept, it's always been the same hero. It's just the fact that like the whole idea that you have so many clean ways to take objectives. I think one of the biggest issues in the patch is everyone wants to pick heroes to fight because it's quite a brawly kind of meta. And then after the brawl, they're like, hold up, we have no way to actually transition from the fight to the objective. And this is why Shadow Shaman, I was kind of shocked Shadow Shaman wasn't a bigger hero earlier on. Because it's one of those such a clean, you don't need your ult for the team fight, you use your ult for the objective. And same with DP. You can use your ult going into the fight. And because it lasts so long, if you have that explosive damage, be it a Pango roll on top of you or that Void which is farmed and killing Chrono, you can then transition very cleanly to your next action on the map.
So it really just seems like it's one of those heroes that allows you to string things together and really put
Exactly.
it all together. Go from
Yeah.
the pickoff to the fight to the objectives, back to farming, back to the fight. Like it seems like everything's covered for FlyToMoon right now, and it really does look that way. I like what they've gotten this draft so far. It seems very well rounded, and it seems like it knows what it's doing. And I see drafts sometimes that don't have like an identity, if that makes sense. This one, it knows what it is. It knows what it's doing. It can fight and it can push.
Yeah, I think overall, how does it pick TA? I was going to say the final kind of rebuttal thing to the FlyToMoon draft is simply they are somewhat dependent on getting items and having kind of that early game not too high tempo on them because DP, even though it's a decent laner pushing out lanes, it isn't that tanky of a hero. It doesn't have a lot of armor, magic resist. You need to itemize to be tanky. Same again with Void. Like his damage output, it's reliant on the Maelstrom or let's say the Diffusal Blade. Like he needs to have something to give him that oomph. And then Pangolier, very weak laner. So if you kind of string this all together, even though they have a really solid like mid to late game kind of concept where we can move from fight to fight with Chrono, with the Shadow Shaman initiation or the Pango, like before that kind of 2-3 items on our heroes, how do we really start a fight? We have to Chrono, but then we don't have enough damage to really kill them in Chrono right now. So I think FlyToMoon, really solid draft, around 15-20 minutes into the game. But the issue there is HellRaisers, their timing is so clear, which is like the TA with Deso Blink can run around and demolish this game, for example, if playing correctly behind the Batrider, behind the ET Stomp. So I think HellRaisers have a really clear time of that first 20 minutes of the game is theirs to move around the map and try and get those early towers. And if they can get enough map presence, enough map control, then potentially it could be really hard for all of the cores on FlyToMoon to find the farm to get the items they need to truly be strong and be online.
So who are you picking in this game one?
After I
Always a
say
lot of
all that,
pressure.
yeah, no, it is because I technically just said like I think there's two very clean timings. I think HellRaisers they've shown that they can execute before, and I feel like they could potentially play around this TA quite well. So I'm gonna go with HellRaisers in the hope that they play well. If they don't play well, then FlyToMoon should just take this away because their draft is so much more like team fighty-ish and But come on, HellRaisers, please don't let me down.
I feel like that question's always kind of loaded whenever it gets asked on panel or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
everybody kind of breaks it down and it's like, well, who are you putting it on? Chat's either gonna make fun of you or you're safe for one more game.
Because like the thing is though, like I teed it up as like it's a 50-50. It's like there's two very clear. You could win at X time or B time, and it's like, oh well, I'm gonna have to choose a time now. Oh god. But coming in for the runes, very casual.
I'm a big fan of Batrider right now. I feel like he gets away with so much. I feel like he's gotten away with so much for a while. Just how aggressive a Batrider can be. Just early stacks and sticky napalm when you don't have that dispel or anything. It just feels like, well, I'm gonna get run down here and I'm gonna burn away. We see sometimes the build of like sticky napalm, then early flame break, or two sticky napalm, one firefly. But is there a reason for the different picks going into flame break first before the firefly?
Before the patch came in, which reduced the flame break duration, obviously meaning more damage. It now does less damage. That is. It was just the fact that you could put so much damage out onto your opponent without having to get on top of them. The classic Batrider play would be at level 2, you've got like 4 or 5 napalms on the hero, you get level 2, you level 5 fly, and you go over them, which is a little bit dangerous because it puts you in positions where you might be diving the tower or just being aggressive for no reason. So the flame break is just like it's a safe play to be able to get that damage out. But with the reduction of burn duration, we might not see it picked up. We'll see. I actually haven't seen that many Batriders since the patch dropped or changes. So
yeah, it definitely has been a little bit less. And one of the things I used to like about Elder Titans too is we used to see them like stack the camps that were closest to the lane and then come back over and use that, but I don't see that anymore. I don't see Elder Titans going the distance to try and like stack these camps and get that as much damage as possible, and then you know, really throw it back. I feel like it's not a lost art, because I don't know if they would be considered that, but it feels like something that would benefit you so much more as an Elder Titan, just to get like a stack or two and then obviously throw the Spirit on there and be doing so much more damage.
Yeah, I think it depends on what type of game you're playing. So if you've got a hero that can clear the stacks, if you have the ability to actually leave your lane and make the stacks, like in this lane, he has to be present in lane the entire time, simply because Chen Void could zone out this Batrider. So, as they get first blood in the top lane as well.
Yeah, Maposhka dropping to Aloha Dances. It's Pangolier and Shadow Shaman, definitely a strong duo here with the Shackle and the early Ether Shock, which is a pain. And I'm pretty sure Shadow Shaman still has like the second highest base damage in the game. I don't know if that's changed recently.
For a ranged hero, sure, he's up there, like 80 damage. It's insane the amount of damage he actually pumps out, and especially when you have now on top of his damage, he's got a casual headdress, which obviously most people are picking up nowadays. So he's going to be tanky. Quite annoying, especially. It tilts me just looking at it. Knowing that if I was playing position 5 into this, it's Shaman, it's like, god damn it.
Yeah, it's easier for, say, the Lifestealer to get away, but Maposhka, as he's going to be got on again, it's not a kill, but it's certainly, you could feel the presence, you can feel the pressure, and how annoying it's going to be for him just to be up against this Pango and Shadow Shaman combo.
Yeah, I think the worst thing actually is I think he blocked his own camp, his own pool camp. So now he's having to play off his small camp, which means he's had to wait 3 minutes now. The third minute allows him to stack it, and the first 2 he was contested. So like, in this lane, you want to be playing off your pool camp away from the combination of Pango Shaman. I said this during the draft, which was if Shaman and Pango are together on a single hero, it's a lot of damage. But if you're together going 2v2, it's a little bit less because it's hard for the Shaman to right click you and not draw aggro. So yeah, as you can see here, get the pull off, play under tap. This is kind of what you want to see in this lane.
As they went on Nyx for just a second, but it was again just that combo of a Shackle with a couple shots, hoping for a lucky shot to proc, and he raged anyway. Meanwhile, though, mid, Iceberg taking a lot of damage from Kasani, and this is what we see from TAs. It feels like such a strong hero in the lane, almost, 80% of the time, it really depending on the matchup, and even then, if you have a bad lane, it's a hero that's so good at just backing off into the jungle and regaining that farm and getting into, say, a Deso or a Blink and being back in the game.
Yeah, it's such a hard hero to shut down because not only do you have to try and beat it in lane, you need to try and take over their jungle as well, and it forces you to have so much presence on the map that you can't really output in the first 10 minutes of the game. Like, you can see how, again, this meta dictates that you have to be present in your side lanes. And when you have a hero that can farm the jungle, it kind of unlocks your draft where it's like, well, now you have to either lose a side lane or try and stop me farming in the jungle.
And right now, Kasani's doing really well at 29-9. It's in about a level ahead of this Death Prophet, which is not going to bode well for him if this trend continues, that's for sure. We've seen a
diving bottom though. Funnick going on to the 5-stack Void.
Oh god, the sticky napalm stacks just get worse and worse. V-Tune, gonna time walk. And he's still got 7 stacks on him, and the burn from the Firefly is just gonna be too much. And Aloha Dance has made a rotation to try and stop this as Roger. He ends up getting traded. I don't think he was expecting that, and the Chen surviving with just a sliver of health.
But you can see there how kind of underwhelming the Chen is in this lane, simply because he doesn't help his Void in any way. They go on the Void, he just kind of watches. The best thing he could do would use his 140-second TP to bring in another hero to then save the Void. So yeah, I think this is just a sign of how strong this lane will become, and I think the Chen, he needs to try and either farm the jungle, move away, or do something. And yeah, but now you can see as you look at top lane, this TP of the Shaman bottom, it doesn't save the Void, and now General, you're a Pangolier. You don't do anything by yourself. You are to be clear, lads, Pangolier as an offlane hero is literally a creep if by himself. He is one of the worst offlaners solo. So all he can do is like drag waves. So this move, I think, is very detrimental to the ability of FlyToMoon to have laning presence.
Man, and it could get even worse if they get a bunch of kills out here. A great stomp there from Roger. Sweeps too. They use Exorcism. Funnick thinking about going in over mid. Miposhka's made the rotation as well. I'm not certain if they want to commit to this. It seems very hesitant from the side of HellRaisers. They bring in Always Want to Fly, but Exorcism was committed, so you know, I think FlyToMoon kind of want a little bit more than just a couple of creeps, just a bit of CS.
Yeah, but now you see the DP ult wasted. It's not actually transitioning into anything, right? Like, the whole idea of DP ults in the early game is you want to ult and move into an objective. Of course, in this scenario, they're trying to go for a big pickoff. They failed, but it feels painful. You're now DP for 110 seconds for a T8 to know that 110 seconds there's no pressure on your mid tower. That's so like relaxing, so freeing. And you can see now the ET making the stacks in the jungle. This is so that you can enable your TA.
I was very quick to that Exorcism. I was a little bit surprised. The Spirit Siphon, though, doing a lot of damage here on the Kasani. Thinks about turning back over into Iceberg, but again, Spirit Siphon now with the Shackle. Aloha Dance coming from behind Miposhka, and that'll cost him his life. He wanders mid for a second to, I would say, kind of help Kasani. I think Kasani was fine without it, and he ends up giving up his life. And then over bottom, they're looking for Funnick. No pause will come through from FlyToMoon.
Poor old Miposhka just getting absolutely slain. This is what happens when you're position 5. You're meant to die, you know? You're meant to find the spots to die. Is it worth it? No. But you can make the excuse. You're position 5. But now, Funnick, oh, he's got the stacks on the chin. Go, Funnick, go!
He wants to, but V-Tune, he's still burning away. It's not as easy for him. Aloha Dance right behind Roger as well as Miposhka, so 3 heroes here for both teams. I think maybe Funnick would be a little bit happier once he gets this level 6 and we'll have that lasso to work with, but...
Oh, Chen TPing in someone bottom.
Let's see who's coming.
Oh no, he's TPing his own wolf. Oh, commiserations always want to fly.
Well, Dance getting chased down here by Roger, but Iceberg's there. Should be able to help. And now the Hex as well as the Shackle. They'll get the glimpse on the Iceberg. Send him back. Spirit Siphon will break. And Roger trying to run, but this is not the easiest escape. And I don't even know if you can call it that, but one shot? There it is. The wolf that gets TP'd from, 5 feet over to the left ends up getting the kill for Always Want to Fly.
If we were min-maxing right there, it's still not valuable. Still not finding it. I'm sorry.
I'm trying to give the call on that wolf going from like right there to right there. But meanwhile, Kasani, he's continuing to farm. He's going into a Desolator first. Sometimes. So what's the decision like? What's the key thing in making the decision Desolator first or Blink Dagger first?
I think it's the idea of, can I farm this Deso uncontested and still get to my Blink Dagger early, or it's all about the timings pretty much. I think in this game it's a free game for the TA to farm, so you go Deso Blink. But let's say instead of a disruptor support or an ET support, you had a little bit more active. Let's say like a clockwork or I don't know, Spirit Break if it was like 2 years ago or something, you know? Something you can easily play off, then potentially the Blink Dagger just gives you a bit more explosive damage.
The team is here. They were letting Roger take a lot of damage, but now Shackle's out on Miposhka. A 3-man sweep. Aloha Dance taking a lot of damage, but the Hex was out on Kasani, so that'll keep everybody alive here over mid as Funnick towards top. Ends up getting the kill there onto General while everybody's kind of focused on mid. And here's the second Exorcism to go for this tier 1 tower. And I'm not certain really that HellRaisers have many answers except to just glyph and hold it off a little bit longer.
Yeah, especially this was an... Did he pick up the... So he picked up the Arcane after the ultimate. So that is an unfortunate time to be alive. But yeah, this defense, you can't really do anything right now. HellRaisers, they don't have the cleanest way to push out waves unless the Batrider is already set up with some maybe napalms on the waves, or if the TA does have that Desperate Blink where she can play a little bit more aggressive and get that wave pushed out. But I think right now HellRaisers don't really mind about losing this tower, simply as they know they're probably about 4 to 5 minutes away from being extremely strong where they can run at them non-stop. I think a point that we haven't raised yet was simply, if you look at the how do the two teams fight, one team is built around Chrono, DPO, Rolling Thunder. Another team is built around pure right clicks, right? You got Lifestealer, physical damage, TA, physical damage. So there's going to be a big cooldown discrepancy between these two lineups. And I think HellRaisers, they could punish that, potentially take a fight, then go Roshan. Like, it's going to be hard for FlyToMoon to find the perfect fights.
And they're going to look over mid. The Rolling Thunder does hit on a Kasani for a second. The sweep is through. That'll hit a Loa Dance, who is 2 shots away from losing his life. But on the back of it all, Funnick now running away from the Spirit Siphon of Iceberg, gets to the high ground and breaks that link. Now comes over and down the cliff. He walks back in. He wants the lasso with the Spirit Siphon on him. But now Iceberg in a lot of trouble. He's pulled down to the low ground. Hand of God is not going to be enough. The swashbuckle through will at least trade Funnick. But now Always Want to Fly might be the next victim of this TA. But she backs off and picks up the finished Desolator. And all the while, I mean, this is great here for Nyx. He's continuing to just farm freely. And he's now finished off that Maelstrom.
I think it's these Chen TPs right now which are making this game a little bit harder for FlyToMoon, where he kind of just like panic TP someone. You saw it in bot lane, obviously he misclicked with the wolf, whatever, but in this scenario he TP'd the Void, who was free farming top lane, into mid, and in the entire time the Void was kind of like just watching the fight. Like, the fight was all the way over by the bottom rune area, right? And the Void had no way to get to this location, so I think you're kind of hindering your Void's ability to just free farm and utilize the fact that HellRaisers are trying to push into quite a hard lineup to push into. But yeah, I think overall not the worst, but HellRaisers, I think, are aligning themselves for this timing. But I mean, as you see, they smoked up now, trying to go for a pick off. Catching out this T8 will be a big play, but already farmed up the jungle, moving away. Not even farming this camp as well. Like, just the natural farming rotation just saved him there, actually.
And they end up getting the scan, which would have been too late if he had farmed a little bit slower, but he's been on it so far. And I mean, that scan, does that give away the fact that they've got a ward inside the jungle, or should they expect a ward inside the jungle? So far as actually FlyToMoon, they transition over to Roche.
Yeah, it will be a indicator that there should be some vision there for sure, but the main thing is this Roshan. Roger already throwing out a couple sleeps, just trying to get it to be slowed down, but it's so hard to fight into them in such a condensed area, into Chrono, wards, like, at best you might be able to steal it. Oh, there we go.
That was beautiful! Flame break at the last second, no fear. It doesn't care that there's a Chrono and Exorcism going, or a Chrono potential and Exorcism going. He just goes in there and snatches the Aegis. One flame break.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, there's no way they can fight this, but oh, yeah, there we go. Never get sold an Aegis still.
Yeah, Batrider, one of those heroes that can really make it possible when you have the ability to just kind of fly over. And they're mad. They're mad at this Batrider. They're going to solo Chronosphere him up, and then they'll shackle him. They'll take that Aegis away as quickly as possible. Can they get a second kill is the question. And well, with this Hex, the time dilation, the lasso V-tune.
Yeah, Funny got the second kill. And meanwhile, going on bot, though, picking off the DP.
Yeah, they've got the Earth Splitter coming through. Iceberg goes down. Always Want to Fly. He might be next. The trap slows him up. Nyx just trying to catch up to him. The Rolling Thunder flies in, though, and will keep him knocked up in the air. General, he's kind of stuck on the corner of these stairs.
Oh, no. He found the one little divot of the stairs. The map is so janky, right? In terms of, like, Pangolier bouncing off things. And that was the one time you did not want to get stuck. And, whew. All right. concerns for General are over.
Almost cost him his life. That was, I mean, that's definitely, if he doesn't get out of that, I'd be pretty upset.
You should be so tilted if you died because you fell into the corner of a pair of steps or something, you know? Like, that is not a time to be alive. But yeah, I think FlyToMoon, this age is still, woo! I've punished them super hard. They like you said, they go top, they try and, you know, God damn it, Barrett, you stole my Aegis. They go for him straight away. But meanwhile, the rest of their team are moving aggressively throughout their jungle and not respecting the fact that ET, TA, Disruptor, all these heroes will kill you. Like, this ET is doing so much work right now. In every move that Radiant make, Roger's always getting that kind of 2-3 man sleep, just kind of pausing the fight, letting the team assess it, and then go in. And when you pair that with the Disruptor, getting that good static storm off or that key kinetic field just to kind of be that pseudo stun, like, TA does so much damage. So right now, I think FlyToMoon trying to achieve too much on the map, and yeah, as you can see, bottom General, he does have a lot of ways to get out of this, so perfectly fine.
He goes into the trees with that swashbuckle, and yeah, just to add to what you were saying, it's just a quick jump to a 5,000 net worth lead here for HellRaisers. Like, it wasn't even the blink dagger that they needed to get that kind of advantage. It's just like you were saying, just the movements, just really putting it all together. I don't know if VTune really expected to die over top, but I feel like that was just kind of like a +1.
He didn't care. He was like, I want that Aegis, and I don't care. I'm just gonna kill you. Oh, I'm dead. That's fine. We already got the Aegis. Now, he probably didn't expect to have so much damage put onto him, but I think it's easy to forget the amount of damage a Batrider does, especially as you're killing him. It's like 1 napalm, 2 napalm, suddenly 33 napalms, and you're dead. Like, it's so annoying here, but now we got the smoke up, popped by the Chen. Kind of ideal.
You always want your 4 or 5 to kind of break the smoke there, and he will, and he gets this little Centaur army out of there, or at least for now.
I think the important thing to know, though, if you have a quick glance at the mini-map, lads, look at the vision right now. You got Radiant, quite a defensive ward about to expire. On the top side, you got defensive ward, and that's all that they've got. As they move in, though, potentially for a couple kills first, as we talk about this point.
Yeah, Rolling Thunder comes through. They're trying to get at least the kill on a Roger. He gets bumped. Yeah, that is a weird spot to bump up. Still, the Swashbuckle will help him to get the kill. Flame Break comes through, but he's already got the Shackles out. Centaurs will stun lock him. They've also got the Hex. They'll get the kill on a Nyx. It's a double kill so far for General. Funix able to escape. But that's exactly what FlyToMoon want in terms of pickoffs. And then they're going to use this Exorcism to push through mid potentially. But a lot of the duration already used inside the jungle.
So luckily, FlyToMoon kind of demonstrated the point I was making, which was simply, if you look at this vision, you've got the 2 double defensive support wards, which HellRaisers are moving constantly through. And then HellRaisers have 0 aggressive vision right now on the map. Like, they're trying to play across the entire map, pushing out top, pushing out mid, and kind of moving around freely, but they don't have the vision to support that, which means eventually, when you make that mistake once, be it a hero shows in the wrong lane, you get punished, which FlyToMoon expertly did, utilized the vision, and got that punishment. The issue now is simply, there's no DP ultimate, so HellRaisers should be able to take a free fight.
Yeah, you're dealing with some pretty big cooldowns on the ults of FlyToMoon. Which is weird is just the fact that they haven't played aggressive really with the Faceless Void at all. The only Chronosphere I think we saw was over top to kill that Batrider after he had stolen the Aegis, but for right now he's in just a Maelstrom going into a BKB, so it feels like he's just more content with sitting back and farming more than anything.
Yeah, he's in kind of recovery mode. I think a couple of these deaths kind of put him into an awkward position, that's for sure. So just, you know, farming it up, sorting himself out, and then he'll be back stronger than ever eventually. Probably not soon though, not in the next 15 minutes.
Really does give a lot of time for not only HellRaisers to farm, but to maybe find opportunities to fight as well. They've only got 30 seconds left until Exorcism is back up. The Yule is picked up for the Death Prophet, going to a Solar Crest. I know we saw it a couple times, but when's the right time, I guess, to say, to pick up an Axe on a Death Prophet?
It's once you're tanky enough to play the fight. So some games you have quite a lot of enabling factors, be it the Oracle, be it, let's say, even a Lich in some games, or let's say Dazzle. When you have these type of heroes, or Omni as well, then you can be a little bit greedier. But when you have no innate tankiness, you have to buy Solar Crest, Pipe, even just the Hood. And once you have these items, then you're like, all right, I can probably take a fight. I'll go Axe. Right now, there's such a clear indicator about how difficult it is for the Radiant side to actually transition any of their plays into something kind of coherent, because they're so scared to go across the river, walking into potential a stomp or this lasso or a static storm, that I think they're already staggering their need to kind of go across this river. And you want to see them make aggressive plays. This is what their draft's built for. But those early key rotation mistakes has allowed HellRaisers to be the aggressors the entire time.
Yeah, HellRaisers have been the ones who have really been playing across the river, and I say that as obviously over top you've got 3 heroes pushing into the tier 2.
They're kind of trickling.
The first time.
Yeah, they're trying. They're like, go, 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 go. Shaman's like, okay, I got the wards, guys, got the wards, and he's gonna back out. But it's like, all right, cool. You might take a tier 2 tower, but for HellRaisers, they could easily A, TP someone back, or B, just stay here and just take the trade. They don't really care.
Yeah, they got the tier 2, and they kept their tier 2 through those Serpent Wards. Like, that's a perfect trade for HellRaisers in probably their eyes.
Yeah, the tier, actually, I just realized, yeah, it's the tier 2 fortification, or through a split shot against Creep Wave, which then means that the Serpent Wards will get hit by the tower. So it's not so easy for Shaman to solo push anymore. But this sweeping motion now, you take this mid tier 2, you get the ward up aggressively, you move into top lane. That's the classic move, but they then double back. They're like, all right, they might expect us to make this move. Let's hold this high ground, see if anyone runs up.
General's gonna get chased by an infested Bat Rider, hoping to catch him out of the Rolling Thunder, but the blink forward will be into the Rolling Thunder, and he'll end up bouncing up and not able to get that kill.
The line has been drawn. Constant aggression has been put into play.
I've got the glimpse now on Always Wanna Fly. He'll try to TP out, but the sweep is there for Roger, so they'll keep him close for Kasani to 2-shot. Jesus.
Oh no, not the zoo. Don't kill the zoo.
He got one. He's trying to put those centaurs on the
courier.
extinct list, and he'll also get the courier as well. So, I mean, this has been some decent chunks of farm for him, and they'll also find Aloha Dance up towards the top end of this jungle. So, HellRaisers, they've placed down Vision, they got their movement in, and they've been able to really string some things together, and now they're going to go after Roche.
Yeah, and now it's like how that previous engagement, which they had a couple deaths on HellRaisers, that was due to their lack of vision. As soon as they get into the area correctly, take the tower, kind of get that wards around them, then they can punish. And it's so critical that vision is such an important place in the game. Funnick though, blink dodging, the smoke rotation. Will he get
got
chrono?
the first hit bash. BKB's been popped by
BKB.
V2 Force Staff, and that keeps Funnick alive, but the Ether Shock will be there to follow it up and end up getting that kill. So far, just the Bat Rider. BKB is no longer available for V2. Let's be a lot more careful.
And again, this Death Prophet just feels like she's kind of like wading through mud at this point. Like every time she's ultimate, she's so far away from anything good that she's like, oh no. And then she kind of like slowly kind of gets her way to the jungle. Like, I'm just going to farm again with my ult, guys. Don't worry. And I think one of the best Death Prophet games I've ever saw was like, do you know when this version of Alliance was formed, the fodder stack? Their first ever game, I think they played together. They had a Death Prophet in their draft, and like that game, if you could literally do a highlight reel of every Death Prophet ult, and it was literally just tower, 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 Roshan, tower, tower, Roshan, high ground, end. Like there was no DP ult that wasn't put around a good fight and objective, and that's what made the hero so good back then, months ago. And obviously, again, still Alliance are one of the heroes at the forefront of this hero. But I think this game this is showing how a Death Prophet isn't that good as a hero, because when you're playing under pressure, when you feel like you have to pop an ult for a big team fight and then just disengage, you're like, oh well. So, but going on top. Where's the damage though?
On a Funnick, and they'll look for the Earth Splitter. Aloha Dance will get chased down with the Firefly on top of him. The Rolling Thunder into the TP there for General, so they'll at least get one kill. And going back to your point about the Death Prophet, it also kind of feels like Iceberg's like, oh, we're fighting R. It's like, okay, well, you're like you said, you're here. The fight's happening here. So
Exactly.
you've
It's
used
so
it
far away.
so early, and by the time you're even close to the fight, your duration's just gone. And, oh my god, V-Tune
buddy.
blown up so quickly there. Blink Lasso, and then a couple of shots in from Kasani and Nyx to clean up this void. Faceless void for all you radio listeners out there, and he's gone for 40 seconds, no buyback so far.
They're hunting for a courier, and they get the glimpse as well on the Chen. This poor man, he just keeps dying. But they're looking for the courier. That's the Lotus Orb if they get it. Alright, they're not getting it.
Speed burst there, and there's the Lotus Orb.
Off the map. But now they finally get to take these kind of top tier 2, these top towers. And again, just diversifying the vision lifesteal. Yeah, you're fine, buddy. Get out of there. You can see though, every time HellRaisers put a ward aggressively, they are changing up the spots. The first time they put the ward, they put it onto this high ground here, just above, to the right of the tier 2 tower, and then now they've shunted it to the far left of this high ground area, just to try and prevent common D wards coming out. So a nice warding coming out from Pushka now, kind of post 20 minutes. Before that, kind of underwhelming, not enough vision to support their needs, but now, beautiful wards, moving into the high ground, got the Aegis. Shouldn't be too scared.
It's one of those things that if you're playing support in those ranked games that you should look for, but good Chronosphere. Serpent Ward's placed down. They're going to try and focus up this TA. The Rolling Thunder bounces in as well. Exorcism through the cheese is eaten, as well as the BKB coming out from Kasani. Now might be able to turn this around as Iceberg has the Lotus Orb on him. Hit with the Metal Strike, so the minus armor is there. Miposhka bashed up, and one more shot till he's dead. We get the glimpse back onto V-Tune. It kind of lets him leave successfully. And Iceberg, he wants more. Buyback from Miposhka. Roger now with the Yules on him, so he's locked right next to this Death Prophet, but...
This is where they overextend though. The DPL is going to run out. They can just go straight back in.
And they don't have the Chronosphere anymore. They've used Serpent Wards. Exorcism gone. Roger moving forward. And, I mean, now what do you have to defend? You've got the Lasso. Lotus Orb placed onto General. They'll shield crash. They've got the Hex onto the TA, but the Stack Storm doesn't really land on anybody. So a couple of things wasted from HellRaisers is they'll glimpse back Iceberg. The damage just isn't coming in at the moment. The Flame Break bounces up General as well as V-Tune. They've got the silence here on a Nyx. Time walk forward, looking over. There's the silence out onto the Faceless Void once again. Rogerson low, force staff to get him out of the hands of General, and now they've got the shackle onto the TA. Swashbuckle comes through, disarming both the Disruptor as well as the TA. Kasani falls, as does Miposhka for the second time. Now the focus, Funnick for a third. They only lose Always Wanna Fly. These three heroes don't have buyback. They'll look for Roger, shield crashes there, make it a fourth, and HellRaisers, they don't get to the high ground. FlyToMoon do a great job of holding their high ground.
Yeah, that was really good. I think especially at the start of that fight, the Chrono was like, oh, we're going to need to kill the T8, and instantly gets that cheese BKB off. But it's the fact that you have that layered control, which is after the Chrono, you then have the Pangolier coming with that Rolling Thunder, continuing that control. You then have the layered stuns from the Shaman. So overall, really good fight from FlyToMoon. I think that initial disengagement from HellRaisers was good, but it's the fact that when they try and then re-engage after the lifesteal infesting in TA, it's meant to be a quick jump, quick kill, but they followed for so long. They also played into the vision as well. Radiant now having high ground ward on this hill as well over here, which means it wasn't as good as it looked. So yeah, I think HellRaisers kind of got baited in by their own thought of, they don't have cooldowns, they're not strong, but in reality, they got a Vlad's on Pangolier, enables this Void. Void still has BKB up. Like, you have to respect the fact that you need to, if you re-engage in these scenarios, you're playing off the quick explosive pickoff. You're not playing off of the chase them for 15 seconds, guys. Make it really aware that they know we're coming. Oh, that's a shame. They actually turn it on us. So, yeah, I think a little bit sloppy in theory coming up from HellRaisers.
So.
Does it matter though? If we have to be brutally honest quickly, like, does it really matter? Like, the fight that you took was at the enemy tier 3. FlyToMoon are still continuing to not build a lead in terms of kind of claw back the net worth. They're kind of stabilizing it, and they're still never using any of their spells to move aggressively. So I think even though it looked bad, I think in terms of HellRaisers, they're like, okay, we can do this one more time before the game actually becomes difficult. So one bad play, acceptable. Two, not so much. So this next fight will be key for HellRaisers to not kind of choke in.
And you're just talking about those objectives not turning, those abilities not turning into objectives. They used Serpent Words into a backdoor as well as a glyph tier 2, so they didn't get anything out of it. Funnick able to survive the shackles that come out onto him. He fireflies away, and I think this is, definitely the next fight seeming like it's going to center around who can get Roche next. That's one of the things that I think is very good for FlyToMoon is they kind of have a little bit of time here while waiting for Roche because HellRaisers are going to want that Aegis to try this fight again.
Yeah. FlyToMoon also have the superior Roshan, and we cannot forget the fact that this game, the tempo is set simply because Funnick got that still onto the Aegis, which enabled HellRaisers to play a little bit more in their face. So I think FlyToMoon, once they kind of get to that Aegis position again, they're going to be able to demolish the Aegis fight if they set up correctly. And I think, again, like every Roshan so far has been HellRaisers get that key pick off, or they just kind of get lucky. So we're yet to see a clean FlyToMoon Roshan, which their draft is built to succeed at. But picking up the TA potentially
onto the TA, they've got the shackle, but always want to fly. He's already dead. They look BKB. There's the Chronosphere looking to get this kill on a Kasani. Do they have the damage? Iceberg's right there with him. Kasani into the meld, and they'll use Exorcism. Iceberg will kill off Kasani, and they've got no TA for 80 seconds. Now they'll look for Nyx, who is silenced, and the minus armor coming through with the Solar Crest. Can he survive this? Good static storm. The Earth Splitters there. Is it enough? It is! V-Tune goes down, as does General. Iceberg bites the dust, and Nyx stands his ground with the help of his supports to team-wipe FlyToMoon.
That was filthy. Jesus. Like, the TA getting caught by the Chrono, not using BKB pre-Chrono, because of course we have to respect the fact that Void, most of his damage is magical, through the Maelstrom procs, through the Time Lock procs. So it's all about, if you BKB, then you mitigate quite a lot of its damage. So the fact he didn't BKB, unfortunate, he then dies, but then the lifesteal is so close to dying, but layering the Static Storm on top, allowing him to just kind of pump out a little bit more damage without getting any spells cast on him. Beautiful. Mwah! Excellent work, HellRaisers. Kind of saving themselves from a disastrous situation that it looked like.
It almost turned sour for them, and then all of a sudden you put everything together. I mean, the Earth Splitter coming through, Static Storm, and then you're just standing there as a lifestealer. Like, you know what? I can do this.
Yeah, I can A-click and just not care about anything in the hope that I live on 200 HP. Oh, now 2000 HP. We're good to go. But look at the Elder Titan, man. Look at this. Look at this little item he's got. This cheeky little item. This little number he's got in that kind of inventory. Oh, little BKB. Yeah, look at the man. Little strong Roger. He can now run aggressively. Sometimes you see Ags, but this game, you don't need to faff around with no Ags. Some Spirit BKB. You just need the real thing.
And it's a fresh one. 10 seconds on it. X comes through on Miposhka. There's a refresher shard that dropped. They've got themselves the lasso on Always Want to Fly, so they'll get themselves at least one. And yeah, they'll get the second there on Aloha Dance, who's unfortunately pulled in by that glimpse.
And now just barreling it on down mid, lads. What do we want? End. When do we want it? End. I think the most important thing is that when you push high ground, this is a keynote for all. If you're pushing down one lane, always skip another lane, because you want the natural momentum to be 2 lanes when you go high ground. So you see here, the Lifestealer, he grabs bot wave, which now means as they hit this high ground, you have this additional wave coming in. You're not going to be punished by this fortification. If they didn't skip out this wave, the lane would have been met elsewhere. Now they'd be kind of waiting around. But see here, boop, creeps come in, life's good.
Grab that tier 3, and Roger with those spider legs goes to the low ground. He's able to escape with his team. No exit kills for the side of FlyToMoon, and pretty clinical right there to take a tier 3 in the lead. And they've got the Abyssal Blade, so their jump is ready to stun somebody up, lock them down, get a kill. I mean, they have a good amount of
Orb Destruction as well.
Yeah, now they'll look over. They've got the Abyssal Blade. They look for this Shadow Shaman. Hand of God is out. They'll finally get the kill there onto Dance, and he's gone for 50 seconds without buyback. Can they get anything more? Looking towards the high ground, they do have Chronosphere available, so HellRaisers got to be careful about their positioning, but at the same time, they are just ripping through these heroes. They'll take it Always Want to Fly. They've got the lasso available with the Refresher Shard on Funnick, and Swashbuckle out of the Static Storm, so now they need to be able to kill him, and they've got the damage Static Storm or not, to make sure they take out the Pangolier.
If we have a quick look at Batrider, the only reason he got that stun onto the Pangolier is due to his itemization. Going for the Aether Lens, he needs a way to get the lasso onto the Rolling Thunder. Without the Aether Lens, he doesn't have enough range to do it without getting stunned. By this item, just enough range, you can now catch him every time he uses Rolling Thunder. Really good itemization coming out from Funnick. Excellent work.
3 about to be 4v5 here, and Chronosphere comes out on a 3. Is it going to be enough? He steps into the Chronosphere. They'll drop down the Serpent Wards. They'll look for the damage out on a Roger. The Force Staff away. The double Force Staff out. Now Kasani getting low. Needs to retreat. Has the Aegis popped? But this is Exorcism and Chronosphere used. Can HellRaisers reinitiate on this? As Kasani blinks away, pops the BKB. Kinetic Field locks up 3. They'll infest into Kasani. They've got the Yules out onto Funnick. Now chasing him onto the high ground. Again, how far are you willing to go? They've got the damage very quickly to take out the Batrider. So with that, looks as though HellRaisers, they see how much they have and they'll take their wins and leave.
And again, FlyToMoon, though, just kind of on damage control. Like, oh god, they're taking our racks. Throw everything at them, guys. Throw everything. And it's like, alright, cool. We got them out of our base. Sick. Now what do? We remain in our base and we wait and we wait for the next push of HellRaisers. They might be able to turn this into potentially some tower aggression, but I just feel right now this Celestial, he has the Orbital Destruction, AC, the Abyssal Blade, like they can just run at them relentlessly. It's so hard for FlyToMoon to make any moves. No Chrono, no Exorcism, no Rolling Thunder, no Serpent Wards, literally nothing. All you are just kind of a bunch of right-clicking dudes who don't really right-click that well. Look at this, like, oh well. They kind of like sneezed at them, took a tower, and just now like, oh god, they feel so awkward right now moving around the map. Which, you gotta give props to them. They're still being aggressive without their cooldowns. Some people would be like, all right, let's chill, but they are moving aggressively. That's fine. I think at some point though, when you're 15k behind, there will be punishment when you make these moves.
And without the Batrider, they didn't exactly have the initiation of, say, the lasso and to move in, catch somebody out, and get somebody as they push the tier 1. So now that they've got all 5 up again, HellRaisers might be looking to just kind of pull together and push through and finish off this game.
They got that. Yeah, FlyToMoon got their one freebie of the game, which was bottom tier 1, and now they're like, and yeah, I guess we got to hold a high ground. I think the important thing to note is if FlyToMoon can hold the correct high ground with the vision, then they'll be able to maybe play into a good fight. Like all of these fights that have occurred within the last probably 17 minutes from HellRaisers have always been backed into their own vision. So FlyToMoon kind of at a disadvantage at that alone. So you can see now the vision in this kind of top side of the map is very much Radiant favored. You've got the one ward located kind of overlooking the entrance to the jungle. So you might be able to take a good fight here. The issue is HellRaisers, they might ignore the high ground. This is probably one of the most fortified areas on the Radiant map at this stage of the game.
Got the total damage available on Kasani. They've got the infested Funnick. I believe Miposhka's smoke was broken.
But it's okay, he's gonna make the jump.
V-Tune got the jump out with the lasso, and Nullifier with the Abyssal Blade is surely enough to get the kill into the Faceless Void. He'll buy back immediately with the Rolling Thunder coming through from General and knocking up a couple of these heroes. The Shackle's out on a Nyx. Now they've got the Spirit Siphon. Always want to fly getting low. Chronosphere out on a Kasani with the BKB pop. Did they have the damage to get the kill onto the TA? Serpent Wards placed down. Earth Splitter coming through. Kasani still alive for now. Roger pops the BKB. They get the kill on a V-Tune. That's the second time he's died. They look over now at the rest of the team as they'll take out Aloha Dance. Kasani finally falls, but so does Iceberg, and 4 heroes on the side of FlyToMoon, potentially 5, as they've got the glimpse post-swashbuckle. They've disarmed him. And can they get the kill? It looks as they do have the damage. They have the Abyssal Blade ready to go once again. Swashbuckle trying to get some distance, but still close to these HellRaisers heroes, and all 5 will end up dead.
Looks like I'm going to be 1 for 1 for predictions.
Keep it 100% for the day.
Yeah, I'm nailing it so far.
Well, might be a throw in the next 20 seconds. You never know.
The slow taking of buildings. They're going to get their mega creeps. No real contest. Funnick just playing around at this point.
Yeah,
they got Abyssal Blade to layer it.
Abyssal. They've got the lockdown. General. Was he?
The defensive swap from a nice glimpse from Miposhka. Lul.
Yeah, I got glimpsed
So
there. Unnecessary.
this should have just been in Mega Creeps. The fact that they went for this kill, a little bit wild, but like they don't even have buybacks. He literally just died back, and these guys have opted to go for a kill instead of going for the last set of racks.
I can't put that check mark yet on this 1-for-1 call.
That's a shame. I may have jinxed it. I actually did. You say that 29k. It's you don't really see comebacks from 29k. Of course, you do in the big old world of Dota at some point, but yeah, I see it. I see it's being so hard though for FlyToMoon. Like the fact, like when you're a cooldown dependent team playing into a 30k deficit, it's like you have to commit so much to bridge the fact that you're down so much gold to the time that even if you do win a fight, you're going to lose the next fight due to buyback at disadvantage or the fact that you can't fight with your buybacks because your buybacks are kind of worthless. Like you saw in this fight, right? The Void Chronos. Oh, sorry, he dies. He buybacks. He then Chronos. He's like, they don't have any detection, so they don't even kill the TA. Like, imagine if the Void died with using Chrono. He then buys back. What does he do? He just kind of watches the fight at that point. DP as well watches the fight. Like, it's so hard for FlyToMoon to utilize the entire buyback mechanic because of their lineup.
It seems like just whenever they put something together on Radiant, it's like, well, they've used everything. You know, like we've used it. We've fought. Our Chronosphere's down. Our Exorcism's down. We want to take a tower, but we're too scared because we don't have anything.
Yeah.
And we don't have anything to take those towers. It seems very rough.
And yeah, and that boils down to the whole. I think it was at the 5 to 6 minute mark when you had the Chen TP the Shaman to bot lane. You then allowed the lifesteal free farm. Pangler didn't really get anything from top. The Void still died bottom, and I think that completely disjointed your entire laning setup, which meant you couldn't continue applying pressure and getting those farm. And then meanwhile, throughout all this kind of like uh, lane swaps and etc., the tail was just free farming. And then you get to the point, okay, now we want to fight them. And then FlyToMoon, they were never able to truly set up at a tower because HellRaisers were the one making the moves first, which meant because FlyToMoon were reacting, they had to use their spells, obviously. Okay, we're going to defend this tower and move on. And the only tower that FlyToMoon took, I think, cleanly was this mid tier 1. But that was at a point in the game where you didn't have a lifesteal doing anything. Like your lifesteal and tier were both farming. I think FlyToMoon, they didn't really highlight this window of pressure. And unfortunately, when you don't pressure in it so critically within the first 15 minutes, especially when you're the one trying to stop this TA from farming, you need to take away her jungle. Like Lifestealer and TA, they want to do the same thing, right? They want to play lane and then they want to hit jungle creeps for a little bit and then come out with a couple items. FlyToMoon, they never were able to unlock that jungle, take it away, take those tier 1 towers because of Iceberg wasting his ultimate or using it just for the tier 1 tower mid but not moving it elsewhere. And then when you do this, the game kind of collapses and plays into HellRaisers' playbook.
And they're just seeing if they could put the finishing touches on it now. They only had that one moment where it looked like they kind of overstepped a bit. But
oh yeah, the great rechase. Yeah. Oh. But no, Roger, I think he probably disconnected because he was like, yeah, lads, we've already won this game, right? You've ended it. And they're like, yeah. And then they lassoed some hero and delayed it. And he's like, oh, God, do I have to come back to my PC? All right, okay, I'm coming back.
making some tea over here. Do I really have to come back?
Banging. The amount of players that drink tea, by the way. Big up.
Is it a lot? I really actually that's something that whenever I was at like an event or anything, I really took attention to. It's like if they drank tea or coffee. I'm a big coffee guy, so I'm just like,
like I have to respect the coffee drinkers out there. Like for me, my day of hot drinks will be like one coffee in the morning into then an unhealthy amount of tea. You know, like that's like kind of my routine. And yeah, I think quite a lot of players. I know like Weeha, Notel, these boys drink tea. Misery's a coffee guy, I think. Sometimes tea. All the Brazilian lads, they're tea guys.
which is surprising because I think coffee's like,
Or coffee guys actually.
you
I don't
know,
know.
when you're drinking coffee and you're looking for like proper grinds and everything, it's just like you look towards like the South American region for like Colombian coffee, Brazilian coffee, and like I'm surprised they're big on the tea, more big on the tea than they are the coffee. I drink tea every now and
soothing,
then with a little bit of
Yeah,
honey.
yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. A nice chamomile and honey. That's a delightful mix. I don't know if you ever had that mixture, but I vouch for that one.
Well, we have all this tea. One year we got my mom a tea of the month club. All this loose
Ooh,
teas from all over the world for like a year. We got her a year subscription. They sent us so much tea. We've had this tea forever. Like
yeah,
we've
yeah.
been drinking it for like years, and it's still so good. It's all these different like little like batches of, oh, we made this special. This it's blueberry something. This, and you're
Just
just like,
flavor of the month.
yeah, and you're just
See,
like,
those
this is
clubs
too
are
many.
those clubs are heavily underrated because it's like the quality of it is always like so good compared to what you buy, and it's like, oh, you don't have to leave to get it. Sick.
Yeah, and it gets
Basically, if you
delivered every
could,
month.
yeah, if you can minimize having to leave the house, I think you're onto a winner. Just like Roger not being at his PC, he's not onto a winner though. God damn it, man! This game was like 98% over. Like if we look at the probability, okay, yeah, point proven. It was literally on 100%. All right, the game was in terms of Dota. They'd already chalked up the replay. They'd already started processing it, analyzing it, everything. They'd written up the end results, everything, the tweets. But nope, they decided to lasso a guy, not get the mega creeps, and disconnect.
Just he'll come back after he gets that tea. You're new to the team.
Is
Maybe
he
he
like
doesn't know the.
growing it himself? Is he getting those leaves, like doing it all himself, crushing it down, putting it into the strainer, getting that nice brew, giving it the old sip, and then like going, oh no, this is wrong, and then redoing the whole procedure. God damn it, Roger!
Giving the old double hand hold on the cup.
Oh,
Just going.
that is an
I saw that ending from
what? It's
miles
like,
away.
what happened to me? I used to be in VP, sips menacingly. Now in
See that?
HellRaisers.
I do that with my coffee. I put two hands on there and I go 6 a.m. and I'm casting.
Yeah. Oh, not again, man. But
I could have
all
been
right,
here.
let's do interesting exercise real quick. All right, quick pop quiz as blue and yellow start doing the Ukrainian flag on the. Wait, is that the Ukrainian flag? That is right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Ukrainian flag. So, all right, yeah, go. Yeah, so they're doing a quick little cheeky Ukrainian flag. That was nice of them. But no, pop quiz. Let's see ways in which FlyToMoon can come back in the game. Yeah, all right. Number one, multiple high ground holds with their spells, in which HellRaisers are unable to truly get back into the fight. One. Number two, Roger disconnects and never comes back.
Is that enough?
Three. Probably. Yeah, I think these disengages and all this stuff is very strong, and I think it could be it could be a big factor if this good old admin goes, you know what, lads, Hellraisers, you've had too much time. We need to unpause this, get the ball rolling. We can't spend the entire day
Got three
waiting for you.
BO3s. You
Yeah,
know?
exactly. So potentially this could be the win condition FlyToMoon were playing for. They had one of their tech guys punching in the numbers into Roger's IP, like how do we get to his IP? We're losing this game. It's like 25k down. What's the hat situation? Boom! Internet drops. FlyToMoon are back in it.
We'll see if they can pull this off. I mean, I'm almost hoping Roger doesn't come back and we see a potential comeback. I know a lot of
Oh, no.
HellRaisers betters out there might not be so happy with the potential situation we have on our hands.
The real question is this all chat, is it like saying we don't have 40 minutes to wait, can we unpause, can we go? Or are they like, yeah, don't worry, man, we can wait 40 minutes, it's fine. Like, what's the situation here? What are we seeing?
I saw that ending.
But like, as much
from
as we kind of
miles
like
away.
meme it, I feel like we can confidently say we're at a position where FlyToMoon are very unlikely to make a comeback, and even if they are to win one fight, two fights, it's so hard for them to transition any fight into any map presence because they're so scared to play the map. again, we kind of beat it kind of down a lot, but but like if they can win a team fight where they only use Chrono but don't use Serpent Wards, or they win a team fight but they didn't have to use, let's say, maybe the DPO because they got a multiple series of pip-offs and never had to take a true team fight, then I can see them maybe making some kind of map gains. But right now, HellRaisers, if they just group up one more time and move swiftly back into this Radiant side, I feel like FlyToMoon will struggle to muster anything.
I will say it would have been a little bit funny if, you know, Roger had finally come back and then FlyToMoon were just like, yeah, GG. You guys got it.
Oh. Just in. We just wanted you to hear it, Roger. Thanks, man. That'd be nice. But look, if you look at the DP now, you asked earlier about the itemization from the Death Prophet. It's at this point that you got the armor from Modus Orb, you got obviously the Purge, you then got the Solar Crest Yules. Now it's like, all right, in this game, I can probably go Ags. Unfortunately, this is kind of offset by about maybe 10 minutes, where normally at the 30-minute mark, you want to have your tanky items plus your Ags, and then to be playing off of that. So this is kind of how you slot the item into your build.
And the thing is, like, she just bought it out and goes from having buyback to not having buyback. And I think, you know, Death Prophet's definitely one of those heroes that, like, if you've used Exorcism and, you know, you die, your buyback's not really worth it as much. Yeah. So to buy out, it just seems like the much better decision.
Yeah, at this stage of the game, they obviously know that they're down by 20, 30k, so we should put everything into one big fight, get that fight, and then that should put us close enough to buyback, so that second fight, we can then have buyback. I like the position they're coming out for FlyToMoon, knowing our lanes are in a pretty good spot. We can aggressively hold areas. Pairing this hold with double boards, one on the high ground spot next to the tier 1 tower, the second one entering Roshan, which allows them to be pretty confident. I think the smoke is a little bit ballsy, but again, ballsy plays allow you to get back in. Using the scan.
Seems like something that they need. They've got the Hex out on a Roger there, and it's a jump forward potential for Chronosphere V2 and immediately just dismantle it, and he's gone. I mean, that's a big part of your fight already out of here. The air splitter laid down, and that will hit onto Aloha Dance towards the back end of this. Iceberg trying to run. There's the glimpse back. One more shot will get the kill. He doesn't have buyback. General using that Rolling Thunder to just disrupt this fight. Shackle comes in, but Aloha Dance burns out. Always want to fly, looking like he's next as he tries to TP away. General at least gets the kill on a Roger, so they get one, but they lose all 5, and that should just be the call. And it is.
God, it was like ballsy plays are going to be the thing that might get them back in the game, and it's like they smoke break, the classic smoke breaking into a high ground area, into an ET. You even catch the ET, but it's like, the Void jumps in, instantly gets Static Storm. Like, that was so sad to see that. Like, that last, it looked like they should have had a bit more oomph in them, and especially the Disruptor had the Axe as well. So the Void jumping in aggressively, maybe thinking he could play off his BKB. Can't even get BKB off. Such a sad ending to this game, I think. But overall, it's kind of an expected ending, especially again with the deficit, with the draft disparity and the disparity. But yeah, one and one for predictions. Let's go.
Yeah, so we'll see if you can make it 2-2. If HellRaisers are going to make it 2-0. And, I mean, a great game there from Nyx and Kasani there. And, of course, it just seemed like everything rolled the way of HellRaisers. So we'll be back with Game 2 in just a moment. I'm your caster B-Cop, joined here by TeaGuvnor. And we'll be back to give you the second game in just a moment. We'll see if they turn it around quickly. So stay right there. More Dota on the way. Be right back.